can. Get them off the board and have them reutilize it. But my oh my, this is the grand final. It's the best of 5 in a best of 5. The first round coming up next. And TwitchCon, Amsterdam. I feel like y'all have been really quiet. But before this grand final, I want you all to be a little bit louder because, come on, this is the grand final. New World Esport is starting here at TwitchCon. Make some noise!
Amazing. What an amazing crowd we have over at the LAN section of TwitchCon Amsterdam. This is where New World Arena, the esport, begins. You are witnessing the emergence of a new esport, and it is phenomenal. I have had so much fun. I'm having the best time, and we're about to see two of the best teams in the game go head-to-head to see who will be flying out to San Diego for TwitchCon. I mean, what a prize.
It kind of eludes my mind every single time, and it's like we've reiterated plenty of times, but every single time it makes it extra special. Gank versus Bonzai, and they've got 20 seconds to calm the nerves, to chat about what you want to chat about, because after that it is going to be all focus.
We're going to be watching Rawberry here in round number 1 of this first fight.
Love that. The spear hatchet, berserker combo as well. That's what we're used to seeing on the hatchet. I feel like he's going to be the aggressive one in the ice pile, already getting positioned and immediately taken down thereafter.
Yeah, fantastic work to neutralize that ice pylon. Ice pylon going to be a big part of the strategy here for Bonzai. Great work with that spear as well. All the Impaler doing some good damage here, but needs to make sure doesn't leave himself in a vulnerable position. Oh, massive work there. Plodge just about able to escape with his life.
Still struggling. They're putting up a ton of pressure. The Ice Tomb now in there as well. They're trying their absolute darndest, but everybody's still alive, so the healer's doing a great job, and they're quite beefy builds as well. We see almost 12k HP right here on Rawberry. He's not been putting out too much damage right here as he tries to get him in there. The sweep not quite landed, and Ice Piling now down. This is where you really have to start worrying. Ice Shower over the top. Ionian Blade, meanwhile, struggling, health potioning up, trying to get on out, but they're chasing him down, and that's the end of Ionian Blade.
Oh my goodness, that is the end of Bonzai's first round here in the first fight. I like this. We're still seeing the fight. Oh, sorry, I thought it was 3v1. It's not, it's 3v2. Forget what I was saying. They still have a chance, but Flodge has to survive, and there he goes. Igni, the healer, doing what she can, but goodness me, a 3v1 against a healer. This is just rude, to be honest with you.
Honestly, yeah, it is pretty rude, and the first round will be in favor of Pfizer Rawberry. They are replacing gems already, directly adapting, and this is exactly what we expect out of Bonzai.
Absolutely fantastic stuff here. Just mixing things up. We're watching Ionian Blade TC here with that Void Gauntlet, Ice Gauntlet combination. We're going to see an Ice Pylon go down. The enemy team, though, Gank just demolishing that pylon before it could get any amount of damage off. Fantastic work there to control that ability.
Meanwhile, all inside the Oblivion, there's now everything exerted at the same exact time. Rawberry, meanwhile, falling. He overstepped his mark. Pludge, he already said what combo he wants to utilize, and he's been able to do that. Now the Ice Pylon going down behind them. That's going to be rougher to take down. Carrix, meanwhile, will get him out of there with the flesh, gets him back in with the perforate, but Carrix, he's slowly but surely getting out. There's the combo that they're looking for every single time. The gavel over the top, and that's the end of the round.
Just standing in that Ice Shower. It was never going to be a good time for him. 3v1. That was a very quick round, and in favor of Bonzai. We talked about their ability to adapt on the fly, and my goodness, proving exactly what they're capable of. Going to return over to Gank here and watch Faelazar here in the third round of this first fight. Is a best of 5 of best of 5s. The Ice Pylon's down and no one's destroying it too quickly. There we go. He got a little bit more damage off than usual. They want to be careful about grouping up, because we know that Warhammer on the Bonzai side so good at crowd control if you group up too aggressively.
right there with the blunderbuss as well, utilizing it especially with a net shot. As soon as he oversteps, look at this, Ionian and Blade getting whittled down inside of that ice shower. He does manage to finally get out. The petrifying screen does come back, immediately uses it. The Void Blade could be used as well, but that's the end for FF2E. Apparently, that's a brilliant name. The Ice Wind now as well, over the top. Shockwave there by Pludge, trying to amend this round, trying to get it back, but they're struggling so much in this 3-on-2.
Now he needs to protect the healer, and that is what his Warhammer build is about, making sure that he can come in and stun repeatedly, get that shockwave off, try and stagger some enemies, and just give Igni time to survive, get out of dodge, do what's necessary to then come back and keep him alive with those heals. And look at this, even as a 2-stack, doing such fantastic work. The comms are immense, but it's always going to be a very, very tough ride when you are 2v3 in such tight quarters.
And that's the end of the round again. They're immediately adapting every single time. As soon as something goes wrong, getting to 350 strength now. Did he not have that before? That could have been a big part of why it wasn't really working out. But they're making constant adjustment as soon as something does not work. But this could be the final round of the first part of the set.
Utilizing that blunderbuss, just poking the enemy team, just trying to get some damage away, waiting for the opportune moment to throw in the crowd control, letting loose there with some grenades as well, really adding in a lot of damage in a clustered up enemy group. That's why they need to be careful about where they end up in front of Plodge. Ionian Blade taking a lot of heat right now, but able to get himself out, get himself healed up. Igni doing great work there, keeping everyone alive. Karax doing likewise. That Ice Tomb just giving Ionian Blade slightly long enough.
Wrecking Ball hitting. He's got the net shot as well, saved up if he wants to get on out. But this is first to burst, and then immediately net shot, so he will apply 50% slow for about 7 seconds. Meanwhile, they are inside of that Oblivion, want to get on out. Grenade immediately utilized. They might just skedaddle. Indeed, they will, but not utilizing the net shot. Immediately, the armor breaker being popped, however. No person down just yet. Still an entire 3-on-3. The healer's doing an immaculate job. Sacred round landed. They are just continuing. This is the combo that he's been waiting for. The shockwave into the Wrecking Ball, but it doesn't do too much. The spells are just ice tombs to safety.
Really, really excellent work here by Bonzai. They're doing very well. Gank, I mean, I thought maybe they were going to lose a character there, but they are all back to full health. This is exceptional stuff here. A real masterclass in how two of the top teams will go head-to-head in the arena. We're coming close to that Ring of Fire, Hyperia. 14 seconds left on the clock before the flames begin to encircle these 6 players. And then it won't be long before that crowd control really starts to come in handy. If they can get a player down before that, Gank would do very well too.
And the reason why, oh my god, Robbery, meanwhile, he's struggling. He's almost falling. He's still got a life left in him. The heal coming through at the perfect time. This is why you have to be aware every single time. Ionian Blade falling, and Plodge is not doing too much greater, and that is the end of the round. The Ring of Fire was closing, and they did not pay attention to it.
Oh my goodness me. That turned around so quickly. It looked like Robbery was going down the drain, and then suddenly, in the blink of an eye, he's got health again. And it's Bonzai who loses the first player, and it really is just that quick. We see Gank take the first fight here in this best-of-5 grand final. What a performance.
I'm expecting to see one Ice Gauntlet go away, though. Because 2 of them, while you have 2 Ice Pylons, which is great because it does combine itself with, for example, net shot, slowing your opponent. An Ice Pylon will do 10% extra damage to slowed opponents. But 2 might just be a bit redundant, and just in general, you want that crowd control, and having 2 at the exact same time, you either have to spread them out and have immaculate team communication, which is rough when you're in the heat of the moment. So I'm expecting one of them to move away.
Yeah, it is very difficult, and it's team dependent as well, opponent dependent, which weapon you choose or which ability you choose to run with specific weapons. And Gank not standing for these ice pylons at all. They are just getting demolished the moment they're constructed. I think, look, if anyone can adapt, it's Bonzai. But I want to point out as well, just a human fact here, I suppose. Just something to consider is that Gank were on stage for their semi-final. They've already settled in to that pressure. And Bonzai, I know, were feeling very, very nervous about coming up on stage. It's their first series on stage, and it is the grand final. That is going to be playing a very big effect on their mentalities.
Oh, absolutely, and that's kind of sometimes why you want to take a bit of a approach. Take a step back, find that reprieve, and make sure you get a nice little breather in, because if you get into the moment a little bit too much and trying to not make any mistakes, that is where it can get really scary. I might expect a Rapier to come in even instead of an Ice Gauntlet on that life staff, for example, something we've seen earlier today as well. There's a lot of added pressure, and sometimes just a fresh start, just that mental reset, changing something around, even though it might not matter, it does in your head.
Of course it does, yeah. And if you can get your confidence back on track, then it means so much, because these teams are clearly incredibly closely matched in terms of mechanics, in terms of team play and ability, in their knowledge, their game-specific knowledge, and it comes down to mental fortitude in those situations. Who can manage the pressure better? Who can keep the comms good and clear? And who can keep their spirits high? Sometimes it just takes one person on a team to make sure they're continuously lifting everyone's spirits, encouraging people. When you lose, doesn't matter. GG, go next. You know, good game. And that one person can be the difference between a trip to San Diego or a bag of swag.
A chain is only as strong as its weakest link. So as soon as one player falls out of the momentum, you can be in for a world of trouble, especially if, I mean, every single role is incredibly pivotal. If the damage dealer isn't doing the correct DPS, if they are not engaging in that CC, in the close combat, you can have all the heals that you want, you can have all the support that you want, but you're still not going to make it through. You can try and tank. You need to be working together as a team. And I wonder whether we're gonna see any switch-ups. That's the main part that I want to figure out.
I really am curious to see what kind of switch-ups we'll see, if any. Are players going to be changing abilities around? Or are we even going to see maybe some weapon changes? We've got a Rawbury with his spear-hatchet combination here. Nothing changing up for him. That is a classic combo at this point for this player.
Oh, the immense skewer directly there with the perforate, doing a ton of damage. Now in the Ice Shower, Pludge, he wants to get on out, use it. It is a dodge, but my oh my, this is a great start. Pludge, he still needs to escape, but it doesn't matter. Oh my goodness, Rawbury chases him down with that spear, shanking and shanking in the back.
Devastating, absolutely devastating. What a start here in this second fight for Gank in the grand final. And now a 2v3. Going to be extremely difficult for Bonzai to make this work. They're left with a healer and one of their DPS characters. I mean, just fantastic work to stay alive this long, but you can see the struggle here. Gank are so well organized, even in close quarters. Igni losing health rapidly here. They're focusing their healer as best they can, and down to maybe just a single hit point. There they go. Followed in close succession go the rest of Bonzai.
Well, let's have a look down the other end, whether they did actually swap. And that's still an Ice Gauntlet. That's still two Ice Gauntlets. They have not switched it around. And also the Warhammer. We did speak to him earlier. We spoke to Pludge, and he said, I might swap it out for the Great Axe, but he's still feeling confident. And sometimes you just need to have that confidence. Utilize it and just stay in the moment. But already a lot of chip damage done. They're poking right now, and they're struggling so much. The comms are going wild.
Yeah, fantastic work there. I'm really enjoying the use of this shockwave as crowd control out of Pludge. Oh, Rawbury very nearly dying there. And the last time this happened, it was an immediate switch around. Bonzai lost a player after that. It's not going to happen this time. Ionian Blade getting knocked to the ground there. Heals being drunk. Potions galore right now in the carnage of the arena. This is absolute chaos.
He's not got the burst anymore on Pludge. It does evade a nice hit out of Rawbury. Will get on out. Ionian Blade, he's left straggling behind. That's a brilliant Wrecking Ball over the top, but he doesn't have anything to back it up. The Shockwave only just coming through, but that's a brilliant stun. No Shield Breaker just yet to get that extra DPS, and Fells are already up to full HP while Pludge is struggling so much and getting whittled down.
Just jumping out of the action momentarily before he dives back in. That Shockwave, we're going to get ready for it again. There it is. Lovely, lovely work there to stun a couple of the Gank players right there. Faelazar struggling a lot here. And Faelazar kills Ionian Blade, but is he going to be taken back out? No, he's not. He has survived, and that is very, very bad news indeed for Bonzai.
Faelazar, he has to be one of the standout players here for Gank. Every single time in the previous round, focusing out that healer and giving them a chance. This is not technically over, even though it's looking dire. And with the stamina running out, especially then, it's just going to be curtains. There's a healer left with an ice gauntlet and a lot of hopes and dreams.
Yeah, this is a rough one here. Igni staying alive as long as she can. A cheeky little entomb there just to finish things off. But there is only one result from a 3v1, and there it is. An unceremonious death.
I like the try, though, because it's one of those ones where if you somehow manage to get the burst, in whatever way, if you manage to catch one of them off guard, you are the healer, so you do have that survivability, and perhaps playing around the fire gives you a chance. But we're going to be looking at this live staff together with the Ice Gauntlet. See how she positions herself along the pitch. My oh my, the Ice Pilot's already happening. They're going to quickly be taken off the map as well.
We're seeing continuous cluster-ups and melees developing at the top of the steps. I haven't seen much of that before. Players tend to want to utilize the expanse of the arena, and especially you see a lot of play around the pillars, but we're not seeing that here, and it's really not helping Bonzai, I don't think. They're struggling when it comes to these all-out brawls that are developing, and losing Plodge, that's a huge loss here for Bonzai because he does so much work with the crowd control. Yeah, shortly falling afterwards, Ionian Blade, and down goes Igni for a 3-0 loss in the second fight.
That's a rough one, and at this point, we were not necessarily expecting fully the change around in weaponry. I'm expecting it now because this time it evidently did not work. I feel like they were less of a contender than in that very first round, so perhaps they're able to swap something around and catch them off guard, because that's another factor of having everything available to you right at the cusp. You can catch your opponent off guard for at least the very first round, and that could be enough momentum to carry you through.
But what do you change? I mean, we have to change out one of those ice gauntlets, right?
Yeah,
or at least the ice pilot.
I'm still saying Rapier because everything is so clustered up. Something like a riposte where you're invulnerable for 1 second and it will immediately counter and then stun your opposition for 2 seconds.
And you put that on the healer.
Exactly, yeah, you put that on the healer as soon as they're in trouble. I mean, you might put it there. I don't think you put it with a Void Gauntlet, to be fair. So I'm saying, Igni, change it around. Just why not?
Give it a go. I mean, look at the concentration on her face right now. Healer extraordinaire, doing her best, but goodness me, this is going to be a tough act now. They have to reverse sweep in the grand finals on stage at TwitchCon Amsterdam. What a performance we have seen out of these teams.
It has been a splashing one, but it is a best of 5. And Gank, they're already up by 2. There's so much going on right now, and they're struggling a lot down the opposite end at Bonzai's camp. There needs to be a switch up, perhaps even mirror the lineup of your opposition. What can you do?
What can you do?
Yeah.
It's so difficult, right? You have to make so many decisions on the fly, and they don't have that long, right? In between rounds, you've got like 15 seconds, and in between games, you've got a couple of minutes max to consider so many variables, to consider what weapons are they using, what abilities are they using, how can we counter them, how does that work within our comps? So many different factors, all lining up in this complex web. I'm so impressed with all of these players, regardless of win or lose.
This is what I mean. This is why I suggested the Rapier. Let's have a look at the healer in this very first round, because their healer is running the life staff and Rapier combo, and there's no changes on anyone on the field here. So I wonder how they're going to pull through, what they're going to change internally to try and make this one work.
And we're seeing Gank try to force this stair play right here, trying to force them to one end of the arena where they can pin them in and just start whittling them all down. And I really feel like Bonzai has to start escaping from this, start spreading out the play, even if you don't necessarily want it to fit your game plan, just to be disrupting your opponent's game plan when they are consistently beating you is definitely a step in the right direction.
Lodge. getting all now, and the healers are being left alone entirely. It's just Pludge, it's just the heavy hitters right in the center dealing all the damage. Meanwhile, the healer's down the side, and the Rapier hasn't even been utilized. So I guess in that regard, the Ice Gauntlet might be a little bit more utilized. The Ice Pylon directly taken off of the field. There's an Ice Shower directly landed. Rawberry and Falazar getting all now and making sure that they can stay healed. The Sacred Ground also there underneath and helping the teammates.
That Orb of Protection doing so much work as well, because it's doing 146% weapon damage to the enemies on its way through, healing teammates. And when you're all clustered up like this, that can be a difference maker, because you're hitting so many people on both teams and doing so much damage and healing simultaneously. That was incredibly close. Ionian very nearly bit the dust.
Oh my goodness, Ionian Blade, and this is going to be such a rowdy one. I feel like everything is going to pop off. Those abilities are starting to come back, and let's have a look. Let's have a gander inside the battle itself. Now board with Falazar. Ionian Blade, oh, he's almost fallen, and just Ice Tomb in the nick of time, but he might not be able to get away. He's going to get chased down, and Eve Rawberry will convert on Ionian Blade. Yet again, another favorable position here.
Yeah, this has got to be the end. Yeah, there goes Plodge and Igni. It's just a matter of time now. The stand-alone healer falls to her knees. There is the end of the first round here in this third and potentially final fight
for San Diego. But every single time that some little extra element is added into the mix, Bonzai seems to completely lose the plot and they get lost in the thick of it. Gank, they have been showing up here. This is phenomenal to watch them playing yet again with the healer. Honestly, I kind of want to stay on board with anybody into the fight, as we are on board with the Ionian Blade, the first one to fall in the last round. But let's see what he can do with that Ice and Void Gauntlet.
Yeah, utilizing that Void Blade up close in the melee, and there goes Falazar. That's a massive, massive take there for Bonzai. They need to make sure Plodge stays alive here, and they have done effectively. That's going to be massive. Rawberry losing hit points rapidly here, getting stuck in the middle of an ice storm as well. Really not ideal. This is going to be Rawberry down, surely. No? Is he not? He's escaped somehow. Absolutely phenomenal. But moving swiftly onto the healer, we're seeing Ionian Blade really do well in the thick of it.
They're just poking right now, getting that healer out and having Rawberry needing to back up Carrot. That's just not possible. Meanwhile, they're holding on for so incredibly long. This is still possible. If you manage to get a quick burst on either the healer or one of the players in the thick of it. Pludge, he was knocked down for a second, but he's shockwaving, or he's doing that combo. Not quite landed it. Still, this is so incredibly close, and as soon as that Ring of Fire, that's the extra element that Gank could be waiting for to come back into this round.
Yeah, trying to make good use of that Oblivion, and we're going to see him drop it here again. Trying to keep Rawberry inside the radius of that Oblivion. Deals weapon damage to the enemy and grants him power to your team. So a massively important ability to be dropping in the thick of these really, really intense fights. I can't believe this is still 2v3 here. Rawberry managing every single time it looks like he's going to drop to get his health back up.
But this does speak volumes, right? You can see that they just lack the DPS to get two players down. Their heals are enough, and Rawberry now getting on out. Shockwave into the Wrecking Ball, perhaps. No, not quite. Rawberry, he was sweeping away with that spear. I still can't imagine this lasting too long, but they've been holding on for so long, and as soon as you step into the flames, that is still a worrisome position for Bonzai. They can't let up the pressure here.
Petrifying Scream going out there, and the Void Blade is doing work in the center of this Ring of Fire. Fantastic stuff here. Ionian Blade and Plodge both dropping down to half health here. They need to focus on Rawberry here. Rawberry inside that Oblivion.
Sweep.
Struggling.
Perforate.
Karak's going to get caught in the Ring of Fire if he's not careful here. And essentially what we need to see is Bonzai hold on for dear life, because the Ring of Fire is going to kill the two before it kills the three. And Carax, surely going to go here. Surely going to go here.
No way.
How
What
will
is
he
going
survive?
on? So many
Plodge
flames.
kill Carax. We've got it.
Yeah.
It's one. That's it. Rawberry in the middle of that fire. That could not have gone any longer. It can't get closer than this. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise. TwitchCon Amsterdam. This grand final is really starting to heat up.
And they're coming alive on the side of Bonzai. They now know what works, but they are still struggling with DPS. That you can't just have it as a one-off. The Ring of Fire helping them close the gap entirely, but they're going to be more aggressive this time around on the side of Gank. Rawberry immediately converting on the Ice Gauntlet and Void Gauntlet player. But Ionian Blade does manage to get on out. I feel like Rawberry, he's got such a great damage output with that spear.
Yeah, Fialazar is very, very dangerous as well. If they can take him out early like they did last time, that is going to be huge. But it's such a big ask. Every single one of the players in the arena right now doing so much work, so critical. That's a huge drop there from Plodge, making such good use of his Warhammer. Igni trying to get in amongst the action here. And we've got Plodge and Ionian focusing up on Fialazar, but Plodge needs to be careful because sometimes he drops down and they can't risk losing his Warhammer.
Bonzai, they are continuously panicking. Their comms are incredibly unclear, but Plodge, he manages to catch Fialazar off guard. Rawberry might be quick to follow, but this is exactly what happened the previous time around, and perhaps Gank have learned out of the moment.
And Gank know that they cannot just play defense right now. They have to even the score. They have to level up the playing field because they can probably survive till the end of the round, but that's not going to help. The Ring of Fire will close, and that's always going to favor the team with more players. How do you bring down a player 2v3, though, especially when they're playing as well as Bonzai are right now?
And they're already converting to the center. They might just think that this is going on long. Rawberry, he's getting bursted down, though, quickly gets on out. He's still getting chased down.
There he goes.
The avoid gauntlet, and that is the end. Carrots, this time it won't be as long. And they're getting closer and closer on the side of Bonzai. They just need the one more to close this one out.
Goodness me, they are series point down, and they were one round down in the third fight. It looked like all was lost. And here begins the fight back. The Cinderella story from the hardest possible position. Are they going to be able to reverse sweep here in the grand final? Well, it starts with winning a fight, and they are just one round away from doing so. Let's see how they hold up here. And let's switch over to the other team who are also running this Void Gauntlet, Ice Gauntlet. Let's see how Fialazar stacks up against the same as we were just watching from the other side.
The Entomb coming in handy, and that's exactly why you run Entomb in pretty much every single Ice Gauntlet. It gives so much survivability when you're in the thick of it. Look at that, so much in the thick of it there. Ionian Blade struggling, but Plodge quickly getting his health back. Ionian Blade still below 50%, and that's a dangerous one. He needs to gain that HP back, but he's just struggling. The stamina is there to at least dodge on out. That's exactly what he's done. Now returning the damage on Rawberry, dropping to 4k, but the Entomb yet again giving him their survivability. And my oh my, they just are not willing to die.
Going full annihilation skill tree here on this Void Gauntlet. Petrifying Scream, Void Blade, and Oblivion all being put to great use here in this close quarters combat. We're seeing so much in this grand final. We haven't seen anything spaced out at all. These players just want to be in each other's faces, and that Ice Tomb broken very, very quickly indeed. Fialazar just trying to get away from it a little bit. The team stacking up on him. Bonzai know that if they take out Fialazar, that is the beginning of that house of cards being crumbled, but Plodge has dropped. Ionian Blade not far behind, and Bonzai are surely going to lose another round here, and that's going to send it all the way through to the final round of Fight 3.
Fight 3, and this is Bonzai's last chance. They have to make it work. They need to pull through if they want to keep their chances of going across the pond all the way into America and go to another TwitchCon. Basically have the second one lined up. Bonzai, it's do or die crowd. Give them a bit of energy.
Give it up for Bonzai. Come on, give them all the noise that you can. They need your help right now if they lose this round. They are out of the grand final. Gank trying to make sure that they close it out here, but the pressure is on both teams. You wouldn't know it, though. The nerves not really appearing at all visibly to
Oh.
us.
Oh,
Robbery losing a lot of hit points here is surely. Did Robbery not just die? That is absolutely insane. I don't understand how he has managed to survive. Robbery on just being chased down here continuously, but he's still alive.
He just keeps on being alive.
He's
So
an
much
absolute
damage.
maverick. How is he doing this?
This is ridiculous. Every single time that shockwave is landed, he falls down. He's stunned for 2 seconds, but he still manages to survive time and time again. It is ridiculous. They're going to be diverting their gaze on Failazar. He's a more interesting target. Robbery, meanwhile, puts him into the mix with that perforate. And the skewer there to back it up, but now taking a bit of a back step, and there's a tiny bit of a breather. But that burst damage coming through from the shockwave and the blunderbuss is showing up here. So much damage output in such a short amount of time.
Failazar at the top of the steps getting focused by Plodge here, and Plodge is going to look to use that blunderbuss to try and create some damage to the crowd as they gather up on the steps. Good little shockwave there, getting some stuns away. Failazar needs to be careful if they manage to successfully corner either Failazar or Robbery. Oh no, there goes Ionian Blade. That's made this so much more difficult already for Bonzai.
This could be the end of it. Shockwave at least landed, but Robbery, he's still much survivable. And this could be the end of the road here. Bonzai, their end is nigh. Can they continue the story? Can they write another chapter? It does not look to be the case. They're standing still. And Gank, they will be going to San Diego to another TwitchCon. Give it up for the team that just won a ticket to San Diego.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winners of the inaugural TwitchCon Amsterdam New World 3v3 Arena Open, Gank. Woo! Absolutely unreal. Absolutely incredible performance. Let's have a round of applause for Bonzai, please. What a performance it was from them. Make some noise for Bonzai. What a fantastic fight. That went the distance there in fight 3, and oh my goodness, I thought they'd pulled it out.
I thought so too, getting that 2 straight. I was already thinking about the reverse sweep, but we didn't even get one. And yet another sweep in state, and that's where you can see the skill gap still very much exists, even when all these players involved are so skilled, are so experienced in this game already, and it's only going to be more. I don't think you're loud enough!
Give us a wave.
There we go.
Up on screen. Hello to our LAN crowd. It's been an absolute pleasure. I hope you've enjoyed this as much as we have. My goodness. Absolutely outstanding. Hi, Furia.
Oh,
I need to breathe.
I feel like
I need a minute to myself.
The inaugural one, it's one of the best ones already. I mean, to be fair, it's the inaugural one, so it has to be the best one. And at the same time, the Words one. But this says so much about what this esport can become. There's so much hype. There's so much going on every single time, especially Robbery. You think he's gone, but no. He's still got an ice to him. He's still got whatever left in his arsenal to keep himself alive.
I was absolutely convinced in that final fight that Robbery was gone. Do you know what? That's Robbery.
Why'd you have to end it on this note, Matt? Come on. I mean, to be fair, when he got rid of Ionian Blade, I thought it was the other way around. I thought Robbery, okay, finally Robbery ends up in the grave. But no, never. He evades that 6 feet deep, taps a toe into it every single time. Jim directly jumps on out. What a spectacular esport this is.
Unbelievable. Let's take a look at the bracket one last time to see how it finalized itself, how it crystallized here with Gank making their way through the only team to actually take a round off of them. I mean, that is very, very impressive.
Yeah.
2.5 men getting ejected in that semi-final. Bonzai on the other side of things, taking their way through Firewater Tavern and Uncrowned Legends before facing off in the grand final, where we've seen Gank in a clean sweep that certainly did not feel like a clean sweep.
It was so incredibly close the entire way through, and I feel like this is I know this is the perfect start to get people more engaged into that arena. Time and time again, people have been wanting to PvP, and now it's finally here. We can get that going.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us here at the LAN stage of TwitchCon Amsterdam. We are going to be talking to Gank coming up in just a moment because we couldn't let them leave without an interview. And of course, the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, Rawbury. Thank you so much for joining me backstage. What a pleasure it is.
Thank you so much.
How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling great, really, because it was a really long trip for us, and we were planning it for like over 2 weeks, and we were like practicing together and really figuring out how do we play the meta and how do we evolve as a 3v3 team and how do we finally can consistently beat like the best of the best teams. Like Bonzai is like really no joke. Like they're from Daichi, literally the best PvP server on the world basically. And they did really fine and they have a really good team. And it is really remarkable that we managed to beat them.
It's absolutely sensational. I mean, you guys did such a good job. And you said that you were preparing for a fortnight leading up to this, right? Did you actually make any adaptations on the day? Because we know that it's actually been quite crazy with all of the comps that people were playing. Did you change it up at all, or did you just stick to the game
we did.
plan?
Because apparently we didn't know, so nobody of us has a clue which gear we are getting on the TwitchCon, basically.
Yeah.
So we were just sitting down at the LAN and opening the caches, and we all of a sudden got gear, some of them questionable, like we had no Petrifying Scream, for example, which is a 30% disease, very important healing reduction. So we instantly figured out healer is really broken in this tournament, and we have to play around it. We have to play like light healer, and then we can basically just face tank and clump anything we want because there's no healing reduction on us, but there's also no healing reduction on the enemy. So we need like the Fortify and the Rend on the enemy in order to make that difference. And I think that difference made us the win.
And you know what? I think it's so brilliant, right? Because obviously, you know, from a player's perspective, you come in and suddenly the perks you're not used to aren't there. And that's a bit frustrating, but it forces the best players to the top because they're the ones who are able to adapt on the day to be able to do that and take it out and realize, look, we're not going to be able to use this. We can't use Petrifying Scream anymore. We've got to mix this up and make it different. And something else I want to touch on, right? We saw, usually in the arena, we're seeing fights that, generally speaking, we have clashes and teams pull apart and they clash and they pull apart and people are running around the pillars and there's a lot of chasing going on. But with you guys, we noticed that you were continuously forcing the fight up to the stairs. Was that an intentional choice to try and really keep it in this locked-in environment?
Yeah, I already explained, like, clumping is really good on this tournament meta because healing is busted on this tournament, basically.
Yeah.
And no Petrifying Scream, no disease whatsoever, no disease resources, so there's no anti-heal. We can just rend the enemy, fortify ourselves, and beat the enemy while having not much trouble, unless we're getting like bursted as us.
Yeah, I mean, there were some times there, and you specifically, like, we were losing our minds backstage because the amount of times, even in that last fight, where you were in the thick of it, and it looked like you had 1 hit point left, and the team was attacking you, and we were like, Rawbury's down. No, he's not down. No. How did you keep surviving in those clutch moments?
Well, I guess I had a beast healer.
Oh,
like, shout out to Carix. He isn't even a main healer, so he adapted for this tournament, and he did really good. So shout out to Carix, and he definitely did carry us pretty much, I guess. Because if he didn't adapt to healer, then we would be here in the tournament today, and we would like, oh, healer is pretty broken. But nobody of us had practiced healer, so what are we doing? But Carix went instantly ahead, like without me or Felazar even asking for him, yeah, could you go please healer, or something like that. No, he instantly was like, okay, like 2 weeks before tournament, okay, instantly swapped healer. We instantly got into the 3v3 and practiced with him as healer.
No, fantastic team composition. You guys seem to have a really good synergy. Can we expect to see more from you guys in the arena?
Definitely. I hope we're getting to San Diego safe. And also, maybe they are hosting another PvP tournament there, and we could beat the best of the best in NA. I would really like that. See on what level NA plays and have a good time there.
Well, I know some of the AGS people are outside watching. Look, you can see our faces on screen. We're asking you, we're begging you, please, bring us to San Diego and bring New World to San Diego as well. We want to see more of this. This has been so much fun. You know, I didn't start learning this game until literally just a couple of weeks ago, and it has been such a journey. I mean, look, you can see the amount of research we've been doing, that everything is so complicated, and I was just like, how are we going to be able to cover this in the heat of it? And part of the fun of it is how difficult it is, because it's been just a carnage. It's chaos in there. But how do you keep track of everything that's going on all at once when the rounds are just 2 minutes long and it's everything?
It is simple. Just play the game.
And you just develop that sense for it.
Exactly. Like,
yeah.
When you play the game, you learn the game, and when you understand the game, you can actually do something. When somebody gives you like tournament gear and you figure things out, you can adapt, and when you adapt to that, you can win.
Absolutely outstanding. You have been a pleasure to talk to, Rawbury. Ladies and gentlemen, please, can we have a cheer? Can we have a round of applause? Rawbury from Gank, him and his team are going to TwitchCon San Diego.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Congratulations. Enjoy the rest of TwitchCon, and I look forward, I hope, very much to seeing you in San Diego.
I'm also looking forward. Also, I want to shout out.
Please.
Gank, best company, thanks for your support, and I hope we're going to conquer Daichi.
Any more shout-outs? Your mum, your dad, anyone at home?
Well, I hope my brother is watching. I'm pretty sure my mom and my dad isn't, because, well, why would they? I didn't even tell them that I am going to a TwitchCon.
So they have no idea, and you've just won tickets to San Diego?
Well, I'm living my own life. Like, why would my parents care, right? I mean, they probably do care, but why would I tell them?
That's amazing. You're just going to call them up afterwards, be like, Mum, Dad, pack your bags. Well, you're not going, but I'm going to pack my bags.
I will eventually tell them that I am going to the States, because I always like dreamed of going to the States. I mean, for this time, it's like a short weekend, but it's going to be great. Like, it's going to be a very good weekend, and going to be in San Diego, going to the TwitchCon, hopefully going to the tournament again, and playing some New World, meeting some people.
Sublime.
Enjoying the wind.
Thank you so much, Rawbury. Once again, Rawbury, ladies and gentlemen, Gank are the winners of the first ever. That's the TwitchCon Amsterdam New World 3v3 Arena Open. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you have enjoyed this as much as I have. It has been a pleasure, a dream come true to cast such an amazing game, such great developers, such a great community, such wonderful players, and a fantastic co-caster, Hyperia, right now, just talking with the rest of the winning team. Can't contain his excitement, but that is all we have time for here today on the LAN stage. Thank you so much for joining us, and make sure that you tune in again tomorrow, because we have 8 hours of action from a different game, from Team 17. It's going to be Marauders all day, and you do not want to miss it. Thank you so much for watching. Good night.